Hi, everybody. Welcome to My Other's Keeper. I am so glad to be here with my friend Christina. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little bit heavy. So please do, as the banner says, be respectful when you ask questions or comment. I'm not going to sit and bash you if you do, if you are not respectful, but I do have somebody watching who will simply eliminate you. Anyway. Okay, maybe not eliminate, but you know,
So,
they will remove you from our chat.
I like
So
illuminate. That
you
was
like
very
eliminate? Okay, okay. So we're here to love and learn. And my story, Christina's story, your story may all be different with similar
aspects.
there we go, with similar aspects, with similar features, with similar characteristics, but there will guaranteed be different details in all of our stories. What is a solution for you may not be a solution for me, may not be a solution for Christina, but we are here to talk about not only what we've been through, but also the solutions. Hi, Don Gloves. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Um, Very excited to have you here. And she's an RN, so that's awesome. What does SP stand for? Is that a suppressive person or does it mean something else, Dawn? Let me know. Um, so, yeah, we are here to not only discuss our experiences, but also solutions, tools that we can put in the toolbox.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a suppressive person. Good job. I like it. So, as we should all aim to be. Okay, so let's start with you, Christina. Tell me a little bit about your history with depression.
So the crazy thing is I never had depression all growing up
Mm-hmm.
until a major change hit me. Um, it started after Christmas, a little bit before Christmas, because I used to join the choir at my church with my grandma, join the Christmas concert, and we
Mm-hmm.
practiced for like 2 months. We'd start in late August or maybe late September and start practicing until December. So it
Right.
was a big, huge thing. And then after that, that's when I literally shut down. Um, I I would be on my phone. Either it could be on or off, and I'd just be sitting here holding my phone and staring at the wall. And just it, my parents could see, my mom especially, she could see there was a different part of me,
Yeah.
something that changed.
Mm-hmm.
And she called my psychiatrist who filled my other medications, and they put me on depression meds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it started, and it hit so suddenly. It just was
Wow.
like there the next day.
Wow. So
Uh,
did your antidepressants help immediately then? Is that what you mean?
um,
Or not? It did it take a while?
I, as far as I remember, because it was a busy time in my life, I think it took like a good couple of hours maybe,
Oh,
but
wow. That is very quick though.
it happened the same. I think the same day I took it, a couple hours, I was starting to feel better and more myself.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a quick change. My therapist, who came over regularly, for helping me with autism and all that stuff, she even noticed a difference like quickly.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
yeah, it just was a quick change, but it hit me so fast,
For
and
sure.
it didn't give a warning. It was just there.
Yep.
And ever since that, after that first time, I've just been on depression meds. Eventually,
Okay.
I actually got up to 100 milligrams of depression
May I
meds.
ask what the medication is?
Yes, Zoloft.
Zoloft. Okay. Okay.
They originally.
I
Oh, sorry.
no, I was going to say I don't know what the generic name for that is. Do you?
Sertraline. I
Oh,
want to say.
sertraline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, my
Okay.
was going to originally, she wanted to put me on St. John's wort or something like that.
Yep.
A more natural substance, but I think it was going to mess with some of my medication that I take. So my
Mm.
did a low dose of Zoloft,
Mm-hmm.
but over the years it got so bad that I had to go to 100 milligrams of
Mm-hmm.
that. And however, I'm on 50 now.
Oh,
Um,
good.
so yeah, it's been a long and difficult journey, but I can honestly say I'm much better, and maybe I'll take it down just a little bit more. But 50 is helping.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, it
Something that I'm going to suggest, and I will say this to the rooftops: medication has changed my life. It is not the only thing. I cannot simply rely on medication to make sure my brain is all good, right? I have to have my psychiatrist. I have to have my therapist. I have to have my doctor. My family, especially my husband, is key. Absolutely 100%. If I didn't have him, I could have everything else. But if I didn't have my husband, I don't know where I would be. So,
I um I love my husband as well. He's an amazing man.
mhm.
He's providing for me. He and his dad even built me a kitchen.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
kitchen. So I understand where that's coming from. I think with me too. I know this is part of depression too of what I went through. Uh,
Right.
but if especially after I lost Jordan, that my service dog. I'm sorry.
Right. No,
I
that's fine. That's fine. Yep.
forgot to that one detail because that's very important. But
Yeah.
my service dog Jordan, he was my best friend. He went everywhere.
Mhm.
He would go to stores. I mean, anywhere you could think of, except for private homes or places like those. He went everywhere. So he was my best friend, my best pal. He made the world seem a lot less scary.
Right.
And when he passed, I remember the summer of COVID. That was the worst it got.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I thought about ending it, and I wanted to go see. I just wanted to go see my dog because I felt like I was losing all
Mhm.
my life
Mhm.
was just horrible. I just wanted to be with my dog Jordan because I knew
Yeah.
he was my best friend. My mom found me with a bottle in my hand, my sleeping pills. I was contemplating it, and she took it away. And another thing is, I had an internet best friend, a couple of them, especially one who came to my wedding. She
Mhm.
knew something was up. She texted my mom, and she said something's wrong with Christina. You got to go check on her. And that's when mom found me with the bottle. And
Right.
I tell you, I was mad. I was mad at her. I just wanted to scream, yell. I just was so mad at her. But
Mhm.
after the initial little bit of being mad, I was so thankful to her because she ended up saving my life. And
Absolutely.
me too. And yeah, that's I guess like one tip I had for people too is always make sure you have somebody in your life you can count on. And don't be angry at them if they speak out about something or tell someone, hey, something's going on. Yeah, you're going to be mad at them, but they're just trying to help. And I don't know where I'd be without Leah as well. That's her name. She's one of my best pals, best
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Having somebody in your life, um, we talk about connection, right? Having somebody in your life that you can trust to be the mean friend who is willing to take away the pills, who's willing to take away
As well
the um, whatever you're able to hurt yourself with, right? Whatever your chosen method
that
is.
and speak out to somebody and say, hey, this person is not doing well. You
Yeah.
know it. You know, and I it's kind of crazy because my on my second honeymoon we went to Tennessee, or me and Jared went last year for our first anniversary back to Tennessee
Nice.
at our honeymoon. Yeah, it was really fun. And One of my best friends, well, not best friends, but he's a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He was having he was having the same kind of thoughts, and he was having a lot of depression. And he called
Yeah.
me, and I was on the other end. He wanted to do the same thing I wanted to that summer,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to be on the phone with him. I was scared to death because I didn't know. I like if he stopped talking for even a minute, I was like, "Are you there? Are you there?" He
Yeah.
ended up to be investigators because he lives in another state. I
Right.
had to play investigator. We called the cops. We to send somebody over there to help him, and I don't know if he was mad at first, but after a little bit, he was very grateful that at least
Yeah.
someone could check on him because then
Yeah.
he got needed. And there is nothing
Absolutely.
either. Um, Sometimes it's just nice to talk to somebody.
Absolutely. I'm just going to put up a banner here. If I could spell.
I feel that.
Okay. So 988 in the United States and Canada now. It only, oh, I have lipstick on my hand. Um, it looked bad. 988, it only became a thing in Canada in November. So it's brand new for us here. But it is an anti suicide hotline. That is something that if you've already taken the pills, if you've already hurt yourself and you're actively in the process of dying, 911.
Yes.
If you're in the process of, I'm going to take these pills in the next 5 minutes, 988. They are specialists. These people are who you want to talk to, and they will keep you on the phone until they get a hold of the police, right? Um, the fact that you were able to do that with your friend, huge kudos to you. Huge. That's
Yeah.
awesome. There are a
I,
lot of friends though who don't have that within them to do, you know?
I just couldn't imagine not having him around and being like, it would have been awful. And I could not stomach I could not stomach just letting this thing go and not giving him the
Hmm.
help he needed because God forbid something happened.
Exactly.
I would have
Yeah.
felt. And another thing too with if you are tempted to hurt yourself or take something and want to end it because you're going through a tough time, don't. You will cause so much grief to somebody else, to your whole family.
Hmm.
It will cause.
Hmm.
You may think that, oh, it's better for me not to be here, but you will cause so much pain after you're gone.
Yeah.
You'll,
You won't be there to see it, but it'll be
yeah.
years
Oh
and
yeah.
years.
And some
Yeah.
people still never get over it. My aunt,
That's true. Yeah.
she she found my aunt. She found her brother
Mm.
after he
Hmm.
did something, and she ended up walking and finding her brother, and she's still not she's still grieving over it.
Right.
She's I don't know how old she is, but I think she's my grand aunt. So
Hmm.
she's not a spring chicken anymore, but not to say she's old, but she's growing, she's getting up there, and it's
Yeah.
still not over it, and
Right.
so it causes more pain.
Something that we have in Canada is called the Kids Help Phone. Um, do you have something similar in the US?
You said a kid. Oh, you're,
Kids Help Phone.
I don't I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Okay, just gonna get. I think I know the phone number. Um, but I will. Kids
I
Help
know
Phone. I'm just gonna grab the phone number here,
I know we have the
and it.
suicide line.
Yep.
I know that, but I don't know about the other.
Okay. All right. It is. Um,
So my mom commented, my great grandfather and my uncle unalived themselves, so she knows the pain. I think she's talking about my Nancy. So
yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just going to
you're fine.
put this up as well.
I'm curious about it.
Well, it's in Canada. And
I
yeah, I'm just going to.
West because I never heard of it.
And there we go. I'm going to show that. All right. Um, the Kids Help Phone is amazing because it can be like if you are 5 years old and you need help and you don't know who else to call, you call these guys and they are there with child services, with police, with whoever you need immediately, you
Oh,
know.
that's
And there's a guy that I used to work with. He's like, yeah, I had that number memorized and it was on speed dial. He used it a lot,
okay.
because he just had that kind of family. My daughters both wanted to be psychologists. I have a number of different mental illnesses. I have a whole alphabet behind my name, none of which has to do with PhD. And my older daughter has gone through college now in order to become a psychologist. She's got her bachelor's of psychology and she wants to get her master's or her doctorate. She's not sure exactly which. She's applied for both. So she's like, I'll see what takes me first. Because she saw how difficult it was for me to get help at the level I needed help. Like yourself, because you have underlying other things, you need a higher level help from somebody who is. My current therapist is a social worker, and she's good for some stuff, but she's not good for everything deep, right? And that's where I'm going to need to talk to somebody who is an everything deep kind of person. So I need a doctor of psychology.
Well, and it's hard too. I know in the U.S. because with the economy the way it's going, it's everything
Hmm.
up in price. And me and my husband, we don't. He has a good job. I'm working probably well now I'm working 4 to 5 hours 4 days a week. So it's like the income for us is not. I mean, we me and him we're married and we have two incomes and we had so much trouble trying to find some place to rent. It
Absolutely.
and there's a lot of places out there that want to cost an arm and a leg just for
Yeah,
you to talk to somebody and it's like there's a lot of people that need that but can't afford that either.
absolutely.
Trying
Yeah.
to find reasonable or free is you have to basically dig
Yeah.
so deep, it's just
Get
it's
hospitalized or something. In Canada, psychiatry is free, psychology isn't. So psychiatry is considered a medical doctor who
yeah.
who specializes in psychological stuff, whereas a psychologist is your therapist, the person you talk to, and they charge for that. There are some clinics though who will charge less if you don't have the funds.
Hmm.
So you really have to be willing to do some research out there.
Yeah, it's like it's not easy to find and too like a lot of people like you find places that may be cheap but your insurance doesn't cover it and it's so
Exactly.
like that should
Yeah.
be that shouldn't be so hard to find because I think if a lot of people had that option, um, it would be it'd be there would be less. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there would be people would get the help they need and tragedies like harming yourself or anything else I think wouldn't happen as much if they could
Yeah.
get that. I know there's
Absolutely.
and I know there's a program. I forget what it's called, but it's a Christian program, and
Hmm.
it's a woman-based program.
Hmm.
And there, I went to it. I forget what it's called. I know my mom will know. Maybe she'll type
Hmm.
in the comments. Um, but it's basically a program, and they have a map. They give you a mapped out program. I think it's free,
Hmm.
but it's Christian based kind of therapy that you get. I remember my grandma would take me, I think once a week, and we'd go get something to eat afterwards. And it was
Right.
I really did enjoy it, and it helped a lot.
Oh,
I
that's good.
forgot, but it was a really good program. But it's for mainly for women. Um,
Right.
it's a really good program if you want some Christian therapy. And I to a lot of therapists, especially if you're a Christian, you want that Christian advice, and it's hard.
Hmm.
Those people that don't cost an arm and a leg, that you don't
Yeah.
want worldly advice from, that you
Right.
want solid Christian advice from, because the world
Yeah.
will go, oh, you need to focus on you, and you need to believe in yourself, when it's like, we need to believe in God, we need to focus on God, stuff like that. And
I
for
will
those,
agree with you, but I'm going to push back a little bit.
okay,
Okay. In that, I have been to a number of different therapists. The people who belonged to a business called Christian Counseling Service, that was the name of the business, sucked. They knew nothing about chemical depression, only situational grief. So they
yeah,
could counsel me through grief, but they couldn't counsel me through what I needed at the time, which was a chemical depression.
yeah,
Yet they said in all of their literature, "Oh yeah, we're good with trauma, we're good with yada yada yada," all this stuff. They lied.
well,
Um, at least
and
the person I saw. When I saw her, I can't remember how many times, but the last time I saw her was literally the day after my depression lifted. And for me, like yourself, depression just kind of there it is, and it sticks around until there it's gone.
yeah,
Right? There's
yeah,
no reason it comes, no reason it goes away. It just does. All you need then is tools to live with it, right?
yeah,
They weren't all she would do, I would tell her what the problems were and how what I was thinking. She's like, "Wow, you have a lot to think about." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And that was it. It's like, "I know I have a lot to think about. Give me some tools, something." So you have to be careful in the people you speak with. Like,
true,
if you don't gel with somebody who is a Christian, that's fine. If you gel with somebody who's giving you advice, as long as it's not anti-Christian
yeah,
advice, I would personally be more comfortable with somebody who is secular than somebody who is Christian, simply because they're a Christian counselor who will give me God-based advice specifically. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I know what you mean. And to be honest too, with that, um, there's it's because I feel like a lot of Christian based people will say, "Oh, your problems, you're not praying enough, you're not,"
Oh
and
yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
it. There
Nope.
are some people like you and me who have a chemical imbalance in their head, and they
Hmm.
need medication to fix the chemical imbalance.
Yep.
It's not, it's not always you're not in the word, you're not praying enough. There are some people
Yep.
that have chemical imbalance, and they need medication to help them out.
Absolutely. And not only medication, but somebody they can trust to
Oh,
talk to, right? Because that's big as well. I mean, I can trust my husband, but he doesn't have the education.
yeah,
He's very smart, but he doesn't have the mental capacity to understand at the same level
as well as my
as
husband.
somebody I need. Exactly. Like 9 times out of and that's why they say therapists should not work with their family, because
Yeah.
there's going to be that extra bit of on top of it, this history.
Well, and
So,
they involved as well. You know,
mhm,
somebody who isn't emotionally involved to also help out.
mhm,
And if you don't trust someone you're going to, and you're not comfortable with who
Yeah.
you're talking to, how can you even talk? You got to have
Yes.
that connection. Um, it's kind of like when I was fostering dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I would go in. My One of my fosters would get a new forever home.
Mm-hmm.
Go in and meet dogs and come out one by one of who needed to be fostered. And there were some dogs who were beautiful and great, but they
Mm-hmm.
just didn't click.
Right.
There was that one dog that always clicked. Uh,
Yes.
there was one hunter, for instance. There were dogs that came out and just kept coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
the only one that came and sat in my lap.
Mm.
That I was like, okay, yes, you are the dog for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I want Hunter. I want Hunter. He is the one. And it's like you kind of gotta do that with people as well. You kind of find those people that you just click with, and
Yeah.
once you do that, you can trust them. You can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I've been
it.
very fortunate. The best counselors that I've seen were not advertising themselves as Christian counselors, but once I got to know them, I found out that they were Christians.
Oh yeah, those are the best type of people because it's like
They
it's
know
like
that when I say God is talking to me, they don't think I'm hearing voices, you know. Or actually, there have been times when I have heard voices. So, I mean, that's a psychiatrist thing. That's not a counselor thing.
hey,
But
there's sometimes I hear God's voice loud and clear in my head, and I swear it's Him talking to me. So,
mhm,
but I feel like too those people that claim to be that say they're Christian counselors are kind of bragging as well, and you gotta kind
can
of be
be, yeah,
because it's like, oh, well, I'm a Christian counselor. I know everything.
yes.
No, you don't.
Mm, no, no, it's that's oh. Now I'm going to say this. I do not want to get into a political conversation. Just warning you. People who advertise themselves as Christian politicians. I'm sorry, but whether or not you're a Christian doesn't mean you're going to be a good politician,
I agree with
right?
that. Yeah,
And that's where you see that too often. I hate to say it, especially in the US. You do still see it in Canada, a little less, but at the same time, um, it's just there are people who are like, oh, I'm a Christian, therefore you should let me lead you. Well, no, I'm sorry, but what if you're a Christian but you're a crappy leader, right? What
well,
if
and
you are
exactly, you can claim to be a Christian, but but your doctrine can be way off from what I believe.
yep.
And if your doctrine or whatever is way off from what I believe, it's like going to a church. There's some
Hmm.
churches where I don't agree with what they're doctoring. I'm not going to go to your church, yet you're a Christian. You say you're a Christian church. Well,
Right.
I'm not going to go because you are not doctoring what I believe in.
Right. Yeah.
That
See, the way I look at it is that there are, when it comes to therapy, when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to politics, there are the bedrocks. There are the foundational stones that must be there. And then everything else is tradition,
yeah.
right? So if you believe this doctrine and it's the same as I believe in doctrine, your traditions of how you do communion, how you do whatever, do you allow dancing, do you allow whatever,
Mhm.
I grew up Baptist. Dancing was a thing, or was a
Food,
not thing. So, yeah,
dancing.
in the 80s. Pardon?
I said dancing and good food.
That's right. Yep, absolutely.
I tell you,
So, anyway, so yeah, these are the things like tradition. I can deal with tradition.
yeah.
What you have to do is you need these bedrocks. My general practitioner is a Muslim woman from Egypt. And she's a great doctor. Not a good doctor for every person, but
Yeah.
she's a really good doctor for me.
I found
Um,
doctors that have been that have been good for somebody else and somebody loves this doctor, but then I go in and I'm like, I don't have that connection. With the doctor,
mhm,
you want that connection because he's the
yeah,
one you for illnesses and
that's
especially
right.
a woman, we have certain
You have
medical
to.
medical exams that require. So you got to trust your doctor. For
Yeah,
certain- yeah, it's you got to have that trust. So I want to,
absolutely.
and you can't look at somebody just saying, "Oh, I'm a Christian." You can't just look at that. You have to look at the whole person and
Yeah.
say, "Well, what are your actions showing?" You can claim all to be something all you want, but what
Mhm.
are actions telling me? How are you?
Mhm. Mhm.
The way you're acting
Absolutely.
is going to show me what kind of person you are.
Exactly. That's right. Yep. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of pardon?
I said we got off on a rabbit trail.
You know what? Rabbit trails are okay. I like rabbits. Rabbits are cute. They've got great teeth. They're fluffy. It's all good. Big ears.
Years.
Yes.
But yeah,
Um, oh, your mom says, Christina, on a side note, we got home safely.
well, I'm
Good
so
job,
glad.
Mary.
Yes, they
Pardon?
today. Speaking of, I'm telling you what. Speaking of depression, if I didn't have them today, I would probably be depressed. They
Yeah.
helped me they stayed here until 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Drive home. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit further, but they stayed until 6 o'clock. We were at the apartment until like 4 or 5 o'clock, and they helped me clean.
Wow.
It's
Sorry,
been
I'm gonna sneeze.
you're fine. um, but this move has been crazy. There's been times where I feel depressed just because I don't know if she can hear me. Okay. Not in your head, okay. But there's been times I've been depressed because I'm moving out of the house
Right.
that I've known, and that I at least pass the way to the house at least once a week for
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Like it's not like something I can put out of my mind.
Right.
And change for me, like different people too with depression, somebody can have a lot of changes going on and they're excited and not don't have any depression about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing that triggers depression is change. That's the first that's how my depression came about
Mm.
is change. That's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
What triggers it the most
So for
is
you, change is a big trigger. My
change.
husband, it's the same thing. Change is scary.
Change is,
We started, pardon?
I was going to say having autism as well doesn't help
Yes.
because most people I know who have autism, they hate
They
change.
need that steady
Get that steady.
thing. Yeah.
I mean, my house is such a mess right now. I'm in a construction, and there's so much. Visually, I'm overwhelmed, but there's so much going
Mm-hmm.
on. But it's like, yeah, change right now is a major thing. But I'm
Yeah.
trying to be positive about it. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. Um, no, when my husband and I started dating, we both lived in the same city. I was going to school, he was going to school. Then I graduated from my school. I was learning how to do hair, and I
Oh,
moved to a different city about an hour and a half away. And he didn't want me to move away because things were going so well. What happens if things fell apart when I moved?
yeah.
Well, over 3.5 years, I stayed in this other city. And then he didn't want me to move back because things are going so well. What if this change means things fall apart? I'm like,
It's
honey,
like
you either
change.
trust the relationship or you don't.
Yeah, it's like change can be a major. Just it can be either good or bad. You never know.
Exactly.
I mean,
For some
this
people,
well, yeah, for some people, and this move is a good change. It really is. We're getting out of a horrible situation.
okay.
Um, Everything is still different.
Mm-hmm.
Navigating this new house, it's just different. So this isn't a bad,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a major one. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I had a point to what I was going to say and it just flew out of my head.
Sorry.
You're fine. Oh, no, okay, I had a point. Okay. It came back now. I feel like my head sometimes is like a chicken coop, like the birds will fly out and just fly back in.
Yep.
But I get with the whole distance thing because when I met my husband, um, it was after COVID and things started to depression. That's when they gave me that summer I was up to 100 milligrams of depression meds, which is quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit, but it was needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him after COVID, kind of around Christmas time, around his or after Christmas time, around his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And so he lived in he lived 3 hours away from me. I was in Cincinnati. I would have loved an hour and 40 minutes away. But he lived 3 hours away from me, so I hated it when he left. I would cry.
Right. Yeah.
It was so hard to always have him constantly come and leave and come and leave. So I get that, and like what happens if things change, and oh, that was the worst. I that just reminded me of I was dating my husband.
Yeah.
What a thing!
Absolutely.
But I was super excited to move up to where my parents are now because um, then I was going to be closer to him. I
Mm-hmm.
my theological the, theology.
Is to do with God.
No, not theology. Oh, my thinking.
Your
Trying to
logical process.
yeah that couldn't think of the word.
Yep.
Was if I move closer, then I guess like things wouldn't. If I move closer, then everything will be fine. We'll be close together. I can keep an eye on him. We won't. Nothing bad will happen. Nothing bad happened. We got married, so. But no, I get that 100% of that.
Yeah.
That must have been hard though. Like just
Yeah.
moving away.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep. That is change. I was just talking to a friend of mine today, and she's got a lot of change going on in her life right now. I'm like, okay, you need to say out loud, I'm excited about this. Because your body physically manifests change, nervousness, and excitement exactly the same way, which is why some people get so stressed out at Christmas because there's so much going on. Their whole body gets excited, but
yeah,
it is, they see it as nervousness,
I mean
whereas other people, yeah, it's
that's
literally 100% what you say to yourself about that feeling that changes how you think about it. So I'm like, no, you have to say out loud, this is exciting, this is exciting. And yeah, it makes all the difference in the world. Reframing what you say when it comes to depression, when it comes to change, when it comes to so many things,
yeah.
totally changes what your
Oh,
brain thinks about.
yeah, when my therapist came that day when I finally took my medication and
Hmm.
things started to turn around, uh, probably in a couple of hours of taking it. She was hiding under the blankets because it was so weird because I was for 3 days straight. I was used to just being this mellow kind of person staring at walls,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a curtain lifted, and I was feeling the chemical change in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
The weirdest feeling because it's like I haven't felt this happy. It was that change of being happy. It was so weird to feel that happy feeling in
Yeah.
my head because I haven't felt it in a couple days. So it's kind of
Right.
through the blanket because I didn't know how to feel. So I'm like, I'm still a little depressed, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I could finally be happy. It was just a mix of both because I
Mm-hmm.
started taking it.
Yeah.
Um, it's just that it was working, but it was just it was just kind of mixture of both. And she took the blanket off and said, "We're going for a walk." We went for a walk in the sunshine, which helped too. And
Yeah.
that day on, everybody noticed difference, and the move was a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember
Yeah.
I just remember feeling both a mixture of, I want to stay under the covers because the darkness, but
It's comforting,
yeah, exactly. It's like I want to
but
stay.
at the same time,
I want to
worst
go.
thing you can do.
Yeah, it is the worst thing you could do, is especially when you have depression.
Yeah.
The worst things you can do is isolate yourself, because when you isolate yourself, your brain will go mad.
It'll
I'm telling
go all these dark places.
you, you'll go, yeah, and it's you're going to go to all these dark places. You will think a lot of things. It will just be really bad. You don't want
Mm-hmm.
not want to be alone,
Mm-hmm.
especially depressed.
Right.
Uh, Walking and getting vitamin D, just kind of
Mm-hmm.
bio during winter.
In
Luckily,
Saskatchewan, same thing. Yep.
luckily there are those lights that do have the sunshine. Uh,
Yes.
so
Yep.
those can help. But
Yep.
getting vitamin D and taking vitamin D also could help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Getting that vitamin D, um, and yeah, so being alone and just to yourself does not help.
No.
If you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling like you just want it all to end, be around somebody. Go to some
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be alone.
That's right. For me, touch is magical. For some people, like my older daughter, don't touch her. She is not a touch person.
Yeah, for me it can
She
be.
has a boyfriend that may change in because of the relationship.
Yeah.
But in general, her first reaction is don't touch me. And that's fine. But what one time I was very depressed, and my girls were, I don't know, 9 and 10 years old. They didn't know really what they could do for me, but one of them had read somewhere that being in a nest is so comforting for baby birds that they will die without the nest. So, what did they do? They took our spare bedroom. They took all of their stuffies, all of them, and they had some big ones, like
Like,
bigger
oh,
than this guy. Isn't he cute? He's a little Yeti.
oh my
Anyway,
goodness. I want the Yeti.
this was I think a birthday gift from my younger daughter.
It's so cute.
Isn't he sweet? Anyways, those ants. That's right. Um, so those automatic negative thoughts are just they're gonna get in there.
Yeah.
Um, but what they did was they created this nest for me on this spare bed, and I'm thinking, oh, that is so nice of them. Yay! I'm excited. And
Very.
my emotion just goes flat. It's not that I'm doubting this, it's just everything is flat. So what
It's
happened was I crawled in and I'm like, okay, guys, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. Because I did appreciate it. But I got in there and they tucked me in and they snuggled all of those soft stuffies all around me. And it's like, oh, this is nice. So
that feeling.
honestly, it was that feeling, the
Yeah.
baby bird feeling, right? So that honestly, put yourself around something physically soft. If you're
Yeah.
not a touch person, put yourself around the softest. Like this is so soft, it doesn't even feel like you're touching anything. But put yourself around something super soft, things
Yeah.
that are objectively beautiful, like flowers. Some people can't handle the smell of flowers. Butterflies. Um, you
Or
know,
free flies.
there you go. So, I mean, yeah, for me, it's art. All around the room that I'm in right now has all sorts of art that I have made.
It's pretty. You're very
Thank
talented.
you. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um,
For
but
me, oh, sorry, go ahead.
mhm. No,
Okay.
go for it.
Well, for me, I was gonna say about the whole touchy feely type of
Yes.
person. So For me, it differs with the person. My husband, if
Mhm.
I will tell him if I'm overwhelmed, just hug me. Wrap your arms around me. Even if I don't hug back the first second, I'll
Mhm.
probably like after a few seconds I'll hug you back. But just
Mhm.
engulf me in your arms and hug me.
Exactly.
That,
Yep.
however, with my mom and my grandma,
Mhm.
um, there are certain times I welcome hugs. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm a little more huggy with her.
Mhm.
It's always that way. My mom, a lot more too. My dad, I hug him once in a while. We're not a huggy type of. I may give him a side hug, or I'll
Yeah,
make give
but it's
mostly give noogies and just pats on the back and
it's
just
a different relationship.
yeah. It's a totally different relationship. But my grandma, and my mom, I allow more hugs. Um,
Mhm.
for my dad's and mine first dance at my wedding, or not first dance, father and daughter dance at my wedding.
Mhm.
At first we're like kind of awkward. We're like, what do we do? Because we never danced before. So he held my head, I held his head. We just eventually
Love it.
and I think there's a picture that I'll have to send it to you. But that's the first thing we did. So that just describes our relationship.
Oh, that's
But,
awesome.
but yeah, it differs for me with people. I love with Jared. I If he doesn't kiss me goodbye or say he loves me, I will literally come
Mhm.
cry. Like
Yeah,
he needs to at least hug, kiss me, something, say I love you before he leaves for work. That
right.
that's just something I need, and
Yep.
I need him when I'm overwhelmed to hug me.
Yep.
Uh, I remember with the night my service dog Jordan, he passed away. Went to the
Mhm.
car. My mom, she's like, "Can I hug you?" Don't touch me. I didn't know.
Mhm.
I just lost my best friend, the one person who I really just wanted a hug from.
Mhm. Yep.
And but my mom wanted to hug me, and I could not physically do it.
No, that's right.
Yeah, it was just that's the one time I remember. Don't touch me.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
Yeah.
for me, for with Mocha, that's my current dog.
Mhm.
I will tell you, whenever I go over to the house, I will lay on the couch and be like, "Come on, Mocha, come on!" And she'll climb on top of me and literally put all her weight on top of me, and that will be the best
Mhm.
thing ever.
Yeah.
I have pictures of her just laying on top of me and her placing her head on my shoulder and just sleeping like
Mhm.
she's the only animal, well, only thing in the house that can do that. And that will calm me down as well. The deep pressure
Mhm.
that will
Yeah.
take all my depression away. I love her so much. So another thing that can help if you are a dog person and love animals, that can really help having a best friend, an
Yeah.
animal that can also
The
help.
un yeah, the unrestrained, unconditional love. And your mom's pointing out with the dog, you can have that love anytime, and with your dad, it's official, right?
Yes,
And so, congratulations. I haven't been able to say congratulations on your adoption.
yes,
Ah, that's so exciting.
I
Oh, that's
know.
wonderful.
Yeah, that
I'm so
was
happy for your family.
yeah. The judge. We were with the judge, standing in front of the judge. She's like, you
Mhm.
can't reverse this, and we're like, we don't want this reverse. Why would we?
That's right.
We want it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, if I grant this adoption, and we're like, if that was a little bit. It's like, okay, let's just go along with it. But it ended up
Yeah.
working. So,
Oh, that's good.
but yeah,
Yes. Dawn says that's awesome. I'm assuming about the adoption. Yes. Um, yeah. It just the people who've been praying for you and all of this through the lifeboat, through your mom's channel, through all sorts of different avenues getting together, have been praying for you, have been praying for your dad, have been praying for you and Jared,
I
in your move and all of that stuff. That's just been,
I
yeah. So that's,
I appreciate. Thank you all for all your prayers, for just thinking of me, because it this time of my life has been so stressful, and
mm-hmm,
it just there was this week, there was a pit bull who who was coming across. I was at a stop sign. It was
mm-hmm.
this that was across the street, and it didn't have, and no owner was around, and
Right.
so it started coming to my car, and I opened the door because I'm like, I don't want it to get hit, um, and let it in, and it just climbed in my car like it belonged. So I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
get hold of him so I could see who he belongs to. His owner comes, so I let the dog out to go to his owner, and then he comes right back and sits at the bottom of my car with the pedals,
Oh,
and the car starts moving a little bit, and I end up putting it in park. But he just made himself right at home. I ended up saving a little pit bull from getting hit by a car. So that was actually a really godsend that day, because I was feeling really distraught.
absolutely. Yes. Your
Thank you
mom
all
says
for praying for
your mom
me.
says fostering can save lives, and often shelters are looking for those just to give these dogs a home to be in. They will help you with medical expenses and food. You're just giving them love and a home.
And
And I would love that.
yeah, fostering can be hard, especially when you have to give them
Yep.
away.
Yep.
But most of the time, we've only had one bad foster dog, that or foster or not foster owner or person that wanted one of my foster dogs, and
Mhm.
they didn't like her at all.
Mm.
It was just not a good situation we were put in, and the shelter was just
Mhm.
terrible.
Oh,
um
no.
yeah, that was really hard. But there was but I promise you, most of the time the foster owners will be amazing.
Mhm.
um and most of the time, I will say that half of the dogs that I fostered,
Mhm.
I did save them, but they ended up also saving me. They
Absolutely.
change your life, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just amazing what they can do
Yeah.
and provide for you. Especially, like I said, especially if you love animals and
Absolutely.
your life, a dog just will make it your life 10 times better and easier if you love
As long
animals.
as you're not allergic. That's
As
the
long
only caveat there.
There is hyperallergenic dogs out there.
That's a theory.
Oh, that
There
is?
Yeah, well, okay, they say they're hypoallergenic. People like my daughter are not allergic to the skin or the fur, they're allergic to the saliva.
No.
So, anytime they lick themselves, it's
Ah,
that they're allergic to. So, like, probably 90-95%, yes, hypoallergenic, but then there's a few people for
that
whom the saliva is the allergen. So, yeah.
I did not know that, because I know my mom, when I was a kid, we were searching for a puppy, and we had to get a poodle.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
but
yeah. Poodle,
yeah,
Bichon, yep.
but yeah. So fostering can save lives. I'm 100%, or fostering. Well, uh, saving a dog from a shelter can save lives. I'm all about adopting
Yep.
from. There are so many, and they
It
will.
also gives you a sense of purpose too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely did. Especially after Jordan died. He
Yeah.
I lasted probably about a week, maybe,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I need a dog.
Mhm.
It was I need a dog, and that's when we started fostering, and it just provided me a purpose of have something to take care of. It gets your
Yep.
mind all those negative thoughts, because you have someone else to provide for, and it's not like
Yes.
it's just constant. Well, I guess it can be like a kid, especially pit bulls. Pitties, they'll constantly want your attention, but for the most part, they can kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just writing down some tools that we can talk about. Um, so we've already discussed physical touch.
Mhm.
For some people, that is essential. And some people, like my daughter, it's not a human touch, it will be stuffies. It'll be something, but soft. Soft touch is what it is. Um, something one of the best things my first psychologist ever told me was when you're feeling depressed, watch stupid comedy.
Yeah,
Not rom-coms, not things with uncomfortable situations, stupid, absolutely meaningless comedy. The Three Stooges, Mr. Bean, like that kind of stuff
I've
where it is just funny.
been watching lately. I've been rewatching Full House. Uh,
Hmm.
that's been fun to just rewatch it, and I
Exactly. There's also the nostalgia factor too.
yeah. Oh, when I'm
Yeah.
depressed, another thing I like to do is go to movies or TV shows like Jungle Book 2 for me. I've been watching
Mm,
it as well because it reminds me of my grandpa, and it's
yes,
just comforts me when life is changing, which triggers depression. Is life changing?
absolutely.
To go into comfort shows is not a terrible thing. Just because you
Yeah.
watch a movie or something like that does not mean you're a baby.
No, not at all. What he told me though was, especially when I'm deep into a depression, I won't laugh. I'm just not going to because that's not where my brain is.
Yeah,
But the comedy is physically changing the chemicals in my brain. So even though it's just incremental, these tiny little movements, it is changing what is going on in my brain. And so, yeah, if you're around something funny, a juggler or whatever, street performer that you enjoy, um, and you're not laughing or you're not feeling it, your brain is still feeling it, and those chemicals are changing. So those are really great. As your mom and I know, and and so many others, connection with
yeah,
others. Like you said, don't isolate. Whatever you do, get out from under that blanket.
yeah. It was hard to get out from under that blanket, but it really does help.
Yeah.
To get to not be isolated.
Oh, Jeannie Robertson. Yes, your mom's saying this helped her when she needed a laugh. Jeannie Robertson is one of the best clean comedians out there. For me, comedy that has a lot of swearing or, questionable content is funny sometimes, but it's not. It doesn't sit well in my heart.
Yeah,
But Jeannie Robertson, very little about her. Um, just Google Jeannie Robertson. She has stories about her husband, who she calls left brain, because he's incredibly logical. That would be my husband, the engineer, left brain all the way. So, what is logical to him is not necessarily the same that is logical to me, a creative type, or yourself, who is more of a creative type. I don't know what your husband's logic level is, but
I feel like that's me and Jared. He's a little bit of left brain. I never got into Jeannie Robertson, but
Bill
uh,
Engvall, I love him. Love me some Bill Engvall.
for me, I guess for me, another comedian. He's a little more. His topics are a little more grown up ish. He has.
Hmm.
He's just kind of very funny. And Matt Rife. I
Yep, yep,
watch him. He's just funny. He interacts with the audience, and he's so
yep.
kind to some of them. To all of them mostly, and he just picks topics, and he just he just makes me laugh.
He was actually recently in the city close to me. So I have some friends who were able to go see him in concert a week or two ago.
I so want to get tickets to go see him because I know I'd laugh my head off, and I try to get noticed.
You
I
know who, do you
what
know who is coming to our city sometime? And I am willing to pay almost anything to go see him.
I don't.
Gabriel Iglesias. Fluffy.
Oh my god! I think my husband likes him.
Yes. I would pee myself at, okay, maybe not, but I mean, actually, I'm old and I've had babies, so I might. Anyway,
No, honestly,
but
there.
yeah, that would just be the best.
Oh, I would also love, because there was one time in Florida when I was younger. My grandma, great grandma, she loved Andre Rieu, the
Yep,
orchestra
yep.
conductor, and I there was was doing a concert in Florida one time, and I really wanted to go see him, but his tickets were so expensive.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
If he came, I would totally still want to try to go to his concert because he
absolutely.
that'd be nostalgia for me as well.
Oh yeah, and Victor Borgia. I don't know if you ever knew him, but he was another comedian musician, and he like brilliant, brilliant musician. But it just, you need to YouTube Victor Borgia.
I will. I will
It
like
is,
if I don't fall.
he is. If you don't, well, do it another day. Rewatch this. Write down the names. You'll get it.
Yeah.
Um, so your mom has met her, and we saw him too in concert.
And
But she's gone to be,
she met Jeannie Robertson once, and I think the
ah, but she's gone to be with Left Brain in the Lord. Yep, yep. She passed recently.
yeah, she did. I heard about that. And
Yeah.
another thing I like, when, especially because sometimes, especially when you're depressed, you try to fall
Mm-hmm.
when you're trying to fall asleep and all those thoughts come into your head. I like
Yep.
to listen to. It's called Abide, and they have a ton of it
Mm.
based uh, on on Bible verses, Bible stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm telling you what, when I listen to that, I fall asleep. It's easy for me to fall asleep.
Yep.
Um, but put a lot of times having that, because especially if you're just laying there trying to fall asleep, those thoughts come into your head, and
Yep.
having something play to where you're focusing on the words, um,
Yep.
or the music or something in your head, it will
Mm-hmm.
most of the time.
Yep.
So I highly.
There's, that's, I don't have the Abide app, but I have an entire music playlist that is all stuff that reminds me what I'm grateful for.
That's good.
And it is an amazing playlist. I call it gratitude. If anybody um, has YouTube music and wants to look up Pookie Woos, um, that'll be one of my public playlists that you can listen to. It is absolutely wonderful. And again, the same with the comedy. I may not be feeling it, but it's changing the chemistry of my brain. And I have to remember that, just like the medication I take, I may not feel it, but it will change how things actually end up.
And I'll get you to focus on something else other than
Absolutely.
what's going on. Sometimes an
Yep.
escape reality is what you need.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's focus. I know sometimes after I watch Full House, or like right now, or after I watch something that takes my mind off of life,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've um taken, like, my brain just took a break, and uh just because my thoughts are constantly running, especially for women. It's super easy to have thoughts constantly running through your head of what you
Yep.
have to do, and and how what you have to clean up and all that stuff. So
Yep.
I it feels like your brain just takes a break, shuts off, focuses on something else, and you can finally, you know, get back to what you need to do after you've had that little brain break.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's something that escapism isn't a bad thing.
No,
Where it becomes bad is when it becomes addiction and you stay there, because
yeah.
that's not healthy. Whether it's an addiction to your phone, to a substance, to a person, even like if your only focus is this person, that's called stalking, and that's not okay.
When
You
it takes
know?
your life to where you can't get out of said reality,
Yep.
that's where. And like with me, when I'm depressed, a lot of times I will go to food. That
Mm-hmm.
I that is something I struggle with majorly. Like
Same
throughout the,
here.
I don't know how many candy bars I've eaten, but I've eaten it. I've eaten a lot of candy bars that I shouldn't have eaten.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. When it becomes bad is when you're constantly thinking of your next. What am I going to have next? Oh, I'm
Yep.
bored. Just get something out of the fridge. You know, there.
Yep.
Bored, hungry, bored is a thing,
Yep.
and not good either because then you're.
Insomnom nom nom nomia.
Oh yes, I love that video of that dog.
And actually, your mom just brought up exactly what I was going to bring up next. Christina loves cosplay.
Yes.
That is a great escape. For your mom, it's crochet. For me, it's painting or, something else creative.
Yeah, get out,
Um,
do something
yeah,
creative. It doesn't
yeah,
even creative. You can go take pictures of rocks
exactly.
and
And
it
yeah, what's creative for one person?
find something that, like for me, I also love writing. I love editing. Find
Mm,
that makes gives you that, oh, I forget what it is, dopamine.
dopamine.
Yeah.
Yep,
Like
yep.
cosplay, another world, focusing on being a character that I've always wanted to play and
Mm-hmm.
dress and dress up as. That gives me that dopamine, and I get to be in
And
that.
the research into it and the creation of this all that anticipation.
There is a lot of creation. I mean, you can. There's times I've just picked out random clothes and made like a cosplay Renaissance thing out of them, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
to do that, and there's so much creativity in that. But that's not for everybody.
Right. That's
But
right. That's again, it's what works for me won't necessarily work for you, which won't necessarily work for somebody else.
I like my
All of
grandma.
that.
She loved gardening. She literally,
Yeah.
if we took her to a nursery, a plant nursery, I'd be bored, but she'd have the time of her life. You'd
Yep.
probably take me to Walmart, and I'd be so happy looking at the clothes and all the
Yep.
items um, to buy or something. She'd
Yep.
be like, "When is this going to be over?"
Exactly.
But I never
Something I
gardening. I always thought it was boring.
Yep.
I've never been into it. I've had live plants in the past, and they've always died eventually. So I
Try
um
now, have you purchased your home or is this a rental again?
we're renting from my in-laws for a couple of years and them possibly buying this, but
Oh,
they're
nice. Okay.
keeping the rent reasonable,
Oh,
um,
good.
so we won't have to pay an arm and a leg. Plus, my
Right.
husband's helping his dad with renovations, so that's also helping with the cost of rent.
Oh, for sure. I'm going to suggest something for you.
Okay.
Make like a 1 foot by 1 foot square,
Okay.
plant some flowers in it,
Okay.
and just get your hands dirty. Tiny, tiny little garden right by your front door or something. But it's something beautiful for you to look at. It is something for you to anticipate. And getting outside and into the dirt is very soothing. You may find if you do that for a year, you may find, nope, not for me. But try it. Just a little tiny little space,
Well,
you
there's
know?
potted plants and two hanging plant things outside.
It's different.
That's different.
That's different. Yep. Nope. Growing something from seeds from the ground makes it all, yeah. They
Well,
don't have to be perennials.
I do want eventually want to do it with my grandma to spend time with her and
Hmm.
get nice so they're not weeds just in a pot.
Exactly.
But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I can try that.
Yeah.
I always end up killing the plants that
Well, you
I
have to do some research. You have to find out, okay, do I have a light spot or like a sunny spot or a dark spot? Do I have north facing or south? Like all of these different things make a difference.
I agree.
And
Yeah,
So it's like cosplay. You have to research it.
I mean, you're not wrong. It, picking out cosplay clothes to put together is comes easier to me than doing
Because
research.
it's something you're already passionate about. Yeah.
I have to say I'm more passionate about cosplay writing. I can sit down and just start writing a book or a chapter in one of my chapter in one of my books, and I'll just
Fanfic?
do it. But
Is it fanfic?
yes, fanfics.
Okay, yeah.
A
My
lot of
daughter does that as well.
okay. I was like not sure if anybody was going to know what I'm talking about.
Nope, I get it.
Okay, I do a lot of Narnia fanfics
Oh
because
yeah.
myself in the stories.
Oh
That
yeah.
fanfic I got like 138,000 views, like 2,000 likes, or no, 3,000 likes, or 2,000.
Wow.
One of those are comments, and one of those are view, or one of those are likes. So that
Oh
put
my goodness. That is impressive. Let me tell you, you have to have some skill to
you
get that amount.
and
Let me
they.
tell you.
I can't tell you how many times they've been rewritten
Mm-hmm.
to make it look more uh, presentable.
Yeah.
It's taken it's taken a good couple of years for that to happen,
Oh,
and it's
absolutely.
like I'll get like a rush of comments one time, and then it'll be kind of dead for a while, and then I'll get some more. So
Yeah.
it just depends, but yeah,
Yeah.
hobbies are a great thing to get your mind off of uh,
Mm-hmm.
whatever is ailing you.
Yes, hobbies are excellent. Another thing that works really well, if you don't have the physical energy to do something, almost everybody has one of these little rectangles. My husband says that that I'm addicted to rectangles. TV, phone, all sorts of things. Rectangle. But baby animal pictures,
Oh yeah,
baby pictures, videos, those again, super objectively cute. My daughter would not look at human baby pictures and say, "Aw." She would look at baby animal pictures and do that though. She looks at human pictures and goes, "Okay, if I have to."
I get it.
She's just not she would feel stressed at the idea of taking care of that. Like that would stress her. But a baby animal is just fluffy and cute and all of this other stuff that's good. You're not gonna break it by picking it up, kind of thing.
For me, I that makes me miss Mocha a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Like to go
Yeah.
Facebook, and there's I mean you have if you have Facebook or even Instagram or TikTok, you have
Mm-hmm.
just by the swipe of your thumb, you will have access to all kinds of videos, and there are
Absolutely.
out there, especially of people having the worst days of their life. And
Absolutely.
to think about too, while watching those, well, at least I didn't tip over a whole case of bottled wine in the store,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
or smash my car into this building. You
Yep.
know,
See,
that's
that's the kind of comedy you need to avoid. That's the stuff my doctor was saying you need to avoid
oh,
because there's still a tragedy involved.
oh, true.
Whereas
Well,
Mr. Bean, nobody actually gets hurt. And in the Three Stooges, nobody actually gets hurt. Whereas in the other videos, people are actually getting hurt.
I didn't, I
So,
didn't that way. But
yeah.
well, another thing then to another thing that will help
Mm-hmm.
is writing down things that you are grateful for or
Mm-hmm.
that you're thankful for that you have. I know one of my friends, they're my Bible study teacher and her husband. I think every night they write five things that they're grateful for and share them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but writing down things you're grateful for in a notebook, whatever, that can be a great help because then you realize I have a lot to be grateful for, and that
Mm-hmm.
I think they did research on that, and that can change your whole mind.
It can. It really can. So, a gratitude list or a gratitude journal. Something else, people will frequently have low self confidence. Um, Dawn, I'm like your daughter. It never occurred to me that being a mother was a good idea for me. Uh, yeah, for some people, it is just not who they are. Don't do it, please. If that's not who you are, please don't. That's all I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I want
But,
to see or hold.
pardon?
Same for me. I want to be a mother, but holding other people's babies, I'm afraid I'm going to break them. It's
Yeah,
having your own and then having somebody else's baby.
yeah.
But go ahead.
But the self-confidence thing. I had a student come up to me. I taught adult English as a subsequent language for quite a few years. And one student said, "Teacher, how can I be like you?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean like me?" "Well, confident." And I thought she meant confident in her English. I said, "Well, you practice. You do this, this, this." And I gave her some English practicing tools. She's like, "No, no, 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 teacher. You are a confident woman. How can I be like you?" And so um, there are a few different things you can do. I'm going to back up my camera a little bit here, and I'm going to back up a little bit here. One of them is the Superman pose. We're going to see my lovely belly. You stand, hands on your hips, chest out, belly out, butt in. Okay. You stand as a superhero. You open your chest and look into the air and just think about how fantastic you are. 5 minutes at a time. It's not just a quick and it's there. You have to stand like that for 5 minutes every day for about a week. And apparently, people who do this do better at job interviews. They do better at sports. They do better at basically anything they try their hand at. It might not be like night and day, but it will be an improvement. And it improves their confidence. They are able to talk to people even though they didn't think they could, right?
Yes.
So something like that is a really excellent thing to do. Some people are like, "Oh, please don't give me affirmations that I have to say to myself. Please don't," because they find it just fake, right?
Yeah,
But
that people tell me what to say and say and tell me you are amazing, and I have to repeating that thing. It doesn't help because I feel like I'm just doing what they want me to do. It especially if
nope.
somebody says or tries to get me to do what they want me to do, and it's harder for me to do it.
Something that helps for me is that Superman stance, but then
Yeah.
I put some scripture with it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay. So for me, the Bible makes all the difference in the world. So Psalm 40, verses 1 to 3. I waited for the Lord to hear me. I called to the Lord and waited for him to hear my cry. He heard me. He lifted me up out of the muck and the mire. He set my feet on a rock and put a new song in my mouth. Others will hear it and be changed.
That
And that I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Just the keys are wait patiently, and you have to make sure you're calling out, not
yeah.
just, you know, so, but those are the two things, and it will change things. So standing in that Superman pose, I feel like crap, but I'm going to wait patiently for the Lord to hear my cry. And if that's the only thing I'm sitting there talking about, it actually helps. The physical manifestation of what you're doing with your body, I don't know why, but it has been studied and it actually helps. So, yeah,
That's because I've always had low self-confidence in my
same.
I'll have to try that, especially with the
Yeah,
verse. That would be good.
yeah. Psalm 40, verses 1 to 3, Psalm 139. It's a long one. I think there's like 30 verses or something like that in it. Um, but that's the one where it is, I thank you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. You know that one? Okay, so
Uh,
that's verse 14. Okay.
okay.
So the whole chapter is about what God thinks of you. You as an individual, who you are.
And another thing, my grandma, when she was in school, or she told me this story. She always wanted to be like other people.
Mm-hmm.
Something about someone else and be like, "Oh, I want to be like Susie. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be as her." And then she'd look at somebody else. "Oh, I want to be as skinny as her." And
Yeah.
just people she and one thing that she said, or she eventually she was praying to God about it. I want to say, and
Mm-hmm.
God told her, "Kathy, I don't want you to be like Susie. I don't want you to be like Bobby. I want you to be Kathy. That's who I made you."
Mm-hmm.
And there's no harm in wanting to be more confident and better yourself.
Yeah.
But you can't look at others and be like, I want to be that exact person, because you have been made in his image, and you are the person who he has put on this earth and who he has meant for you to be. God makes no mistake.
Exactly.
You got to,
Exactly. And that's why Psalm 139 is so perfect, because it's not, I have made you to be healthy. I've made you to be whole. I've made you to be pure. I've made you to be all of these things that you may not feel like you are.
yeah.
It is simply, I have made you. And this is how much I love you. And you cannot get away from my love. And all of these different things, that it's not something you have to live up to. Some people would find that too much pressure. So if you have like a printer, maybe take a,
You'll put Bible verses around the house too to encourage you.
like, just take a sheet of paper, print it out, stick it by your mirror, stick it wherever you're going to see it at least once a day. Someplace where you're going to do your Superman pose, maybe by your breakfast, you know, first thing in the morning.
Read it.
Um, something that's where I put my medications, is right beside the toilet. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to do this first thing in the morning anyways. So there's my meds. So I'm not going to forget. Right.
Yeah.
What I showed you here is a little essay called "I Would Have Pulled Joseph Out." And it's a reminder of me that I can't change somebody else's situation, because I might be robbing that person or the world of something exceptional, because my view is so small. I don't see the entire picture, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and this is the first few sentences. I would have pulled Joseph out of that pit, out of that prison, out of that pain. And I would have cheated nations out of the one that God would use to deliver them from the famine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the
That's
thought of that.
he was meant to be there. It's like,
Exactly.
and you can't. Another thing too that I know, that I know may cause you to be overwhelmed and maybe cause depression too, is if you're trying to please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying when you're trying to change somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change, like I'm in charge of myself. I cannot change my husband. There's stuff that he does that stresses me out and annoys me. That I
Unless
would
he wears a diaper, honey, you can't change him.
exactly. That's I can't. I There's things that annoy me that he does, but I can't. Only he can change. If you
Exactly.
do, I can't do that, and I can't please everybody. There's somebody out there who's going to hate my guts,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't let that get to you. You have to remember, I'm in control of me. I just have to worry about myself. And
Yep.
sometimes, if you think you only have to worry about yourself,
Yeah.
the only person that can change the situation, it could put you in a better headspace.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're a very wise young woman.
I
This
try
is
to.
excellent. So
Uh,
I'm
I,
just going to go over. Sorry.
I just wanted to thank my grandma for and my mom for a lot of these wise words I'm saying, because they've been telling me this for years.
Exactly. And the wisdom of other people is the only way we become
Yeah,
wise, by
100.
taking their wisdom, applying it to our lives, and realizing why it makes sense. Because not all wisdom is going to be wise for each of us, right?
And there's always going to be a point where you're going to mess up or make a mistake. And I know
Mm-hmm.
I let my mistakes sometimes I get stressed about my mistakes. Like, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. They're mistakes. As
Yeah,
long as he died, I think you'll be okay.
generally, yes.
Really,
But what
yes.
happens if somebody does die? Like, what happens if you're in an accident, you'd run a red light and somebody dies? You know, like there are those people for whom that is going to be a reality.
Yeah.
For those people, I would say put it in perspective. And the perspective is, was this something you were aiming to do?
Yeah, and
Was this something that,
that
go ahead?
accident happened. Yeah, you got to think, were you actually meaning to do that, or was it an accident where that person just came out of nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, if that happens to you, which it hasn't happened to me yet, maybe seek, like, get somebody to talk to. That won't hurt. That will maybe make you're most likely the outcome is you're gonna feel guilty,
Yep,
and you're gonna have so many emotions and thoughts in your head that it's just gonna weigh you down. And
yep,
talking to somebody will help a lot of those feelings.
absolutely. That's where your therapist comes. That's where your family comes. Um, if your family doesn't understand you, there are a lot of people who are in the LGBTQ area of the world. And for those people, a lot of them don't have a family who understands.
Yeah,
A lot of times they will see Christians as some of the worst people because we're going to judge them for who they are
and we
or
shouldn't do,
who. Oh, exactly, exactly.
because
Yeah,
we. I mean, according to the Bible, all some God's not going to say that somebody who murdered somebody, um, and somebody who lied to somebody is it's the same sin. God's not going to say, well, you just murdered this person, but you lied, so I guess you're the worst person. I always
exactly.
do. I may not agree with how you're living your life,
Mm-hmm.
but I will not judge you. I will I will always love you. I will treat you treat you like a human being and not
Right.
like a higher pedestal. And that's what we all should do. We don't have
Yep.
to condone it, but we don't have to let them feel like they're less than anything.
That's right. Yep. As long as you're not hurting me or hurting somebody else, I will treat you with human respect
Exactly. We
and
all.
human. Exactly. Just
But
because my sin is quiet and yours is loud
I mean,
doesn't mean it's any less.
exactly, and what you want them to judge us for, or judge me or
Mm-hmm.
for our sins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my philosophy on that.
Yep, I agree. And your mom has a good point here. The terrible part is not learning from your mistakes. That's a missed lesson.
True.
Um, over weeks and months and whatever, however long it is that you give me the blessing of talking to y'all, you're going to learn more and more about me. And I have made some very poor choices in my life. Some of them, they're all my choices. Don't get me wrong. They're all choices that I have made. Some of them were in the midst of an illness that made things logical that weren't supposed to be logical. Okay, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, but I will not regret, I will not be down on myself for all of those because 90% of the time I've already been forgiven for them, for the
Yep.
mistakes. I have to forgive myself.
Like, there's a lot of.
And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that's okay. And because I have done these things, I have learned lessons like what your mom is saying. I have learned lessons and I can talk to people I would never have been able to talk to otherwise, right? I can talk to young women who are in bad relationships. I can talk to young people who are in bad families. I can talk to people who have mental illnesses. I can talk to people who have physical disabilities. I can talk to all of these different people because so much is wrong in my life. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? I feel bad for people for whom nothing is wrong because they
Yeah.
have no character.
If there's nothing wrong in your life, there's something going on, because
If there's nothing wrong in your life, there's something wrong.
it's basically that way. 'Cause there's always
Yes.
wrong. And with that whole thing about, because there's sometimes I'm human. I forget to take my medication sometimes, or
Hmm.
I took it and then I'm not totally sure, so I don't want to double my medication and have cause
Exactly.
some unneeded emergency services. Um,
Hmm.
so I will sometimes forget because I'm human, and especially my impulse. Once that impulse medicine wears off,
Mm,
it's harder to control them, and so
absolutely.
I sin when I don't have that impulse control. But
Yep.
I go to the Lord and ask for repentance and
Yep.
my sins, but that doesn't mean I can't learn.
It also doesn't mean that you're free of consequence,
True, that too.
because that's the other thing is over the years, I have made some choices, like I said, that I would not, if I were in my right mind, I would not have made. But there have been consequences to those. And
Uh,
I have learned from those consequences.
yeah,
So
sometimes
Jesus, go ahead.
I was gonna say sometimes Jesus will give you those Jesus spankings. So there was one time when I was in
Yeah.
Tennessee on my honeymoon. This was the biggest Jesus spanking I ever got. Me and Jared were just we were just getting frustrated at each other, and so I told him I hope he falls out because we were going whitewater rafting, and I said
Mm,
I hope you fall out of the raft. Well, I was feeling confident that day, and when we were hitting this one piece of patch of water, I flew out, landed in the water, and was trying to get back or hang on to the boat for dear life. Nobody
mm-hmm,
helping me. They were all
mm-hmm,
new, and I'm going over bumps and rocks. So my husband yanks me out of the boat, or yanks me out of the water, drags me in the boat. My pants, oh, I almost lose my bathing suit bottoms. So I'm giving everybody a little sneak peek of my goodies, not intentionally, and so mooning everybody, and it was scary. Let me tell you that, but I was the one that told Jared that I hope he falls out of the raft, and guess who
yep.
got thrown out? That was a Jesus spanking, and that 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 will happen. That
That's
God
exactly right.
has to be a consequence
That's
to,
right.
and
Yep. And
especially.
keep,
Oh, sorry, I was
mhm,
just quick. As this is one thing my Bible teacher taught me, especially if you're a Christian, you will get hit a lot harder, especially if you sin. God does, especially if you're God's child. It's like a father disciplining their child.
mhm,
You will, Jesus will make sure you get, you learn from your lesson. He's not going to let you stray and get away with things as much as someone who isn't his child. You know?
yeah. You also have to remember that sometimes bad stuff just happens.
Yeah, true. God
You
lets it out.
know, the rain falls on the good and the bad. If you look in the Bible, the story of Lot, um, everything went wrong. His children died, his animals died, his wife decided she didn't like him anymore. You know, all of these things. And everybody's like, Lot, what did you do? You must have done something really bad to make God hate you this much. And he's like, no, I didn't do anything. And he hadn't.
I
Things
mean,
just happened. And he showed his faithfulness. But I mean, it took a very, very long time.
agreed. And we can't go around thinking that just because we get punished, oh, God is hating us. He's, if things happen and God lets it happen for a reason, I mean, it's all for the glory of His plan, and
Hmm.
He knows what's happening. There's times I wish I knew what God was planning.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That it would be very hard as well,
It
knowing
would
what.
be.
So,
Yeah, the responsibility. I mean, yeah, the responsibility would just be, I
oh,
think, maybe too much for me.
so
Anyway, it has been an hour and a half. It has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Chrissy. I really appreciate this.
I'm sorry I kept interrupting you.
Oh, no. I'm an interrupter, so I get it. 100%. Don't.
Yes, and my focus on my medication has probably worn off. So
That's okay. That's okay. But I am just going to retouch on these tools. Okay. Physical touch, comedy, funny comedy, not tragic comedy. Connect with others. Music, like, or abide or calm type of apps are great. What's the next one? I can't read backward here.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
Oh, baby animal.
Yeah, baby animals are. Oh my gosh,
baby animals, pics or videos. There we go. Baby animal pics or videos. Hobbies, and then a gratitude list or a gratitude journal. Those are really, really all excellent things you can do when you are feeling depressed. And I'm not going to say if you ever, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when you do, take a look at these tools. One tool doesn't work, maybe the next one will. Maybe you have to do them in combination. You know, we don't know. But take a look, create a toolbox that fits you, and make sure that you are able to access what's available.
And if sometimes, because for me, these tools may not work at first, you may need some kind of medication, and that is not wrong. You may just need
Not at all.
help chemically
Nope.
balance, and then
That's right.
will work. So if you do need some kind of medication, go for it, because it will help you get to where you need to be. And you may not be on it long term. You may need it just for it. It just depends on the person.
Absolutely. I will be on medication for my mental issues the entire rest of my life. And I know this, and I've made peace with that, because I will also be on medication for diabetes for the entire rest of my life. I will also be on medication for yada, 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 you know, for the rest of my life. Everybody's got something. And if the worst thing that has to happen to you is you have to take a pill to make your brain chemistry work, because your brain chemistry is what's off, do it. Don't feel scared to do that. Okay. St. John's wort is lovely. It's a good mood stabilizer, but it's not pre-dosed. You know, we can't say that you have to take this much of the tea for this much time and whatever, because every time you make a bag of tea, it's going to be a different strength, right? So herbal remedies and tinctures and things like that are lovely as possible helps. But honestly, I would be very reluctant to say only use natural medicine. That's my point of view. Okay. You might be having a great time with natural medicine, and it may be working beautifully for you. And that's your experience. But mine has been.
Oh, sorry. I'd always call. Nope. For me, I would suggest always calling somebody a medical professional, because you may be taking medications, and for some reason St. John's wort may mix with your medications, and then you'll be in a whole heap of, you'll be even worse off than you are.
Precisely. That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's better you get advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to pharmacists. Pharmacists will know a lot more about interactions and such than doctors will. So pharmacists are a great, they're a really great support. If you are going to look online for things, look under trusted websites like WebMD, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. Those are great. You know, don't.
Oh,
sorry.
Don't let people shame you for taking medications either.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It's not, stigma will kill a lot of people. Prejudice is the actions and how we treat other people with different abilities, races, whatever. Stigma is the attitude we have around it. Okay. And just something as insidious as an attitude, if it's about yourself, if it's about somebody else, can destroy you.
Yeah.
So be very careful.
One comment on a Facebook post or saying something to somebody,
Yeah.
a word can be so hurtful.
Yeah.
And
But at the same time, sometimes a word is the biggest blessing somebody will ever get.
True.
You know, when you talk to the person at the checkout line at the store, just simply smiling at them, maybe that's the only smile the person has seen in a week, right?
Yeah.
If you go to school, and your mom's right, don't suffer in silence. If you go to school or you're at a workplace and somebody just is off, somebody is just that weird person that nobody really likes to be around, and we all know those people, find one thing that you can compliment them on. 9 times out of 10, there can be one thing at least. You can give somebody an honest compliment. Say, hey, I saw what you did and I really liked it.
Well, and if somebody is bullying you or bullying, that can lead to depression, and a lot of, especially kids, can be so cruel. If somebody, everybody can be cruel, but like if somebody is bullying you or messing with you to where the point where you feel like I'm not wanted, I'm not needed, and have those thoughts, tell somebody, because not gonna just ending it is not the answer. Like I said, you're gonna cause more pain, especially to your family, and you won't be here to see it, but they'll have
That's right. That's right. Now, having said that about kids and bullying, adults bully too.
True, yeah.
I was in a work situation. My boss bullied me into believing that I wasn't a good teacher anymore. He bullied me into believing that I did not know how to do, which I knew how to do.
Yeah.
So he was using a gaslighting technique, which is telling somebody and making them think that they're crazy or that they don't know something that they do know or whatever. And it caused me to have a nervous breakdown because I allowed myself to stay in that situation longer than I should have. Had I had the courage to get out of it, I would have not had a nervous breakdown. Had I not had that nervous breakdown, I would have never become an artist. Had I not had that nervous breakdown, I wouldn't have this channel, and I would never have met Chrissy. So like I said, there are crap things that have happened, but
glory of God.
Absolutely. They all work out in the end. So have a great night. I will talk to you later, and enjoy your evening, my friend. Enjoy the excitement of the move, not just the nervous energy. Exciting. Woohoo! Right.
Bye, everybody.